A light is out right now in Buckingham Palace.
Egy nappal második Erzsébet királynő halála után itt vagyunk Londonban, hogy megnézzük, hogyan gyászolják a királynőjüket a britek. Jelenleg a Szent Pál katedrálisban tartanak egy misét a királynőért, kint pedig egy kisebb tömeg gyűlt össze. What did the Queen mean to you?
I just liked her. I thought she was a people's queen. I was born in Kenya. I was only a little girl and I remember seeing her come to Kenya.
She felt like everybody's grandma, and she's just always been there. She's been a constant, and she's history.
To have somebody representing the country for so long through so many trials and tribulations, that's very valuable. So we're American, we're used to a different government structure, but the monarchy here gives a certain consistency above all the noise of the politics and everything.
Do you remember where you were yesterday when you heard the news?
Of course you do. We were about to go to Albert Hall for the proms, and we arrived there and they said the proms have been canceled, but if you want to come in, the orchestra is going to be playing the national anthem.
She said she was going to Buckingham Palace. I said I'm already on my way. It just felt like it was the right thing to do to pay respects. There were multitudes of us in the rain, but we didn't really care it was raining. We just all wanted to come together, and it was a somber feeling, but also a feeling of unity as well.
And we just looked up at the roof and we saw the flag move down, and it was kind of weird. There was no noise. There was a very unusual silence.
Bár az angol és a nemzetközi sajtó is a gyászról szóló hírekkel van tele, a Premier League meccseit elhalasztották és leállították a Tour of Britain kerékpáros versenyt is, illetve felfüggesztették a The Crown című sorozat forgatását is. Azért az élet nem állt le teljesen, a színházi előadásokat például megtartják, és itt a Trafalgar Square-en, London belvárosában hétköznap este óriási a forgalom. Eddigi tapasztalataink alapján egyébként annak, hogy a királynő meghalt, a legtöbb jele nem is az utcán van, hanem inkább a metróban.
Is a moment where people start to really ask the question of whether or not the monarchy is important. But I think this is probably one of the moments where it will bring people together and think about the importance that it's played for a very long time.
Itt vagyunk a Buckingham palotánál, ahol késő este is még óriási tömeg van. Vannak, akik virágot vagy valamilyen személyes tárgyat hoztak, hogy elhelyezzék a kapu előtt.
My students in the Cotswolds have put together these sets of cards, and it's from a high school from ages 7 to 13. I have to say, there were some kids that didn't want to sign it, and they were like, well, who cares about the Queen? And then you had other kids that were like, absolutely.
I think the monarchy is like wrapped up in lots of like colonial issues, but also represented a lot of like modern Britain. I think they modernised quite well and successfully in some ways. But for me, it kind of means like a family tradition. It's something that I definitely talk about at Christmas with my grandparents and my older relatives in my family. That's kind of why I'm doing this today.
I think that the Queen represents something that's quite significant in British culture and British people's identity, and I think that explains why perhaps so many people were surprised at the way that they felt when we had heard the news of the Queen's passing, and I think that because it's so woven into, you know, kind of British identity and how we view ourselves.
So this is my cousin over here, and what we say is, like, if it wasn't for the Queen and the Commonwealth, we'll still be in Sri Lanka picking mangoes for food.
No matter whether or not she was in a generation where the right thing may not have been apparent to them at that point, it is to them, and she's always been on the forefront of challenging those ideas, and I think that's what she represents.
London egyik ikonikus terén, a Piccadilly Circuson vagyunk, itt mögöttem ezen a több száz négyzetméteres LED falon általában reklámok vagy hírek szoktak menni, most viszont második Erzsébet halála miatt a királynő fiatalkori és időskori képe látható. Ez annyira szokatlan, hogy gyakorlatilag mindenki a téren ezt fotózza. And what do you see in the future for the monarchy now?
Whenever there was a crisis, you always thought, well, what's the Queen going to say? How's she going to react? And you kind of took a lead from that in terms of punctuality and service.
The Queen was very didn't really talk much and was very old-fashioned and proper. And I think Charles and eventually William will be quite different. Charles seems to be very modern in his opinions on, I work in architecture and design, and he's very interested in sustainability.
Time will tell. I think he'll do a good job, but I think we're going to lose some of the Commonwealth. I really believe that. He's not like his mother. So, and I think sometimes he's a bit loose-lipped. He says things that she'd never have said.
Charles is also an excellent speaker, and he's an advocate for saving the planet. And he was an early advocate of this, and now people are realizing how true he was and what he was saying. So I think people will be following him quickly.
I wrote the Queen a letter a long time ago. I wrote it in verse, I wrote it in poetry. It can be viewed, I can send it to you. But I'm going to write to her son now to encourage him to be a leader of love. And when you become a leader of love, you can bring a nation together, elevate that nation, elevate the people in that nation, and we're all better off.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Thank you.